Imagine being so righteous that rats tremble on the very ground you walk upon. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Victor Saltzpyre, more specifically, the warrior priest of Sigmar. Now let's talk about him. His passive ability, Righteous Fury. Saltzpyre gains Fury when enemies die nearby. On reaching 100% Fury, he briefly enters Righteous Fury and his attacks smite the enemy for 20% of weapon damage. Saltzpyre loses Fury while out of combat. What's fun about Righteous Fury is it's not just what you kill, but also what your teammates kill, so it all fills that bar, which is kinda cool. His career skill, Shield of Faith. Saltzpyre imbues himself or an ally with a shield, rendering them immune to damage for 5 seconds. Upon expiring, the shield explodes, inflicting damage on nearby enemies. He's also got Enemy of Chaos, 30% bonus power to Chaos Warriors and Beastmen Standard Bearers. Incorruptible, 100% curse resistance. He's also got Implacable. Damage dealt to Saltzpyre is reduced by 20%. A further 20% of incoming damage is dealt to Saltzpyre over 3 seconds. Saltzpyre cannot be killed by damage dealt by Implacable. And I think when this one first came out, it confused a fair amount of people, myself included, but essentially, you get a flat 20% damage reduction. So if you take a hit for like 100 damage or something, you're going to be taking 80 damage. However, you're only going to take 60 damage initially, and then for the next 3 seconds, the rest of it, that 20 damage, is going to be dealt in the form of tick damage, and it can't kill you. And for today's melee weapon, I am going with the dual hammers, and for that we want Eternal Vigilance, aka staggering enemies for temp health. This is going to allow us to mash our light attacks for hordes and generate pretty much limitless temp health, so there will definitely be no temp health issues for us. On his level 10 line, I'm going with Rising Judgment. Hits increase the power of the next charge attack by 8%. Max stacks 5. So what's great about this is that the light attacks for the dual hammers, they're pretty quick, pretty easy to do. So you can just pop off a couple of them and then, save your stacks. Overhead and elite with a heavy attack, 40% extra power for that if you want. Or what I sometimes do is I'll light attack once on a horde and then I get that extra power and then I'll come back with a heavy attack and just wipe them out. So, you got some options there. Rising Judgment's really good for doing some extra damage. On the level 15 line, Smiter is your best choice here for doing extra damage. Essentially, you do 20% extra damage when you initially hit an enemy, which is more the mainstay. Mainstay, you have to wait till like the 3rd hit or the 2nd count of stagger to do more damage than Smiter, and it's not really that much. Generally, things are dead by then because it takes a long time to do that. Smiter's just kind of more reliable. On the level 20 line, From Fury Fortitude, I think is really good. Each kill during Righteous Fury restores health to the party based on the health of the slain enemy. Now, it's not a ton, of course, unless you have like a patrol or something, then it's going to be a little bit more. But, any kind of healing for the entire party, I feel like is something that kind of just has to be taken. In my opinion, this is the best talent on this line because it provides a measure of team support and safety. On the level 25 line, I really like Prayer of Hardiness. It's extra health, 15% for everybody, so you can definitely run that if you want to. However, Prayer of Might right here blesses the party with 25% increased stagger power. Of course, everybody gets this, which is going to allow certain classes with certain weapons to hit stagger breakpoints. For Warrior Priest, simply light attacking like maulers and stuff will stagger them even on kata. I don't know, I just find when I use this talent that I am knocking things, or at least staggering things back that I don't normally notice being staggered back. I find it to be quite useful. And then for the ults down here, I've talked about United in Prayer and why I think it's really, really good. I've talked about the Comet's Gift, which is a good talent. I will say it's not a bad talent at all. However, we're going to be going with Unyielding Blessing today. Shield of Faith now lasts for 8 seconds and allows the target to trample through lesser enemies and effects. So what I love about this talent, number one, of course, it lasts a little bit longer. Secondly, when I'm Saltzpyre and I'm up there on the front line with my dual hammers, I'll cast this on myself, right? And then I have 8 seconds to do whatever with it, and I'll just run through a horde. And what that's going to do is that's going to stagger all the man-sized enemies, which will allow me to focus on the elites and stuff while my team comes in behind me, sort of like a second wave, like a flanking wave, and they take out the hordes and whatever elites I miss or get by me or whatever. And then depending on how much time I have left, I'll even run back through the horde if they're still alive, and I'll just kind of keep that horde staggered. I find it to be a very effective strategy for just dealing with hordes. This also, of course, protects you from gun rats and bladestormers. However, the interesting thing with this one is that it allows you to ignore the effect of warp fire throwers. So if there's warp fire thrower, you cast this on yourself, you can run through it. You won't get knocked back. You obviously won't take any damage, and you can just run right up to it and smack the little shit. For the equipment equipment today, I'm going with the paired skull splitters. I know I keep calling them the dual hammers. I'm running crit chance, attack speed, swift slaying, pretty standard stuff. You could also choose to run block cost and stamina, or block cost and attack speed, if you feel like you need to block a lot more. With this build, since I'm staggering stuff a lot, I don't really feel like I need to block that much, you know, with the stagger force and the ult. So I just run the standard, make it fast, you know. And then for a second slot, I just say choose whatever you're comfortable with in the second slot for melee classes like this. Generally, I go with some kind of shield weapon, and I really like the flail and shield, so I run that. Attack speed, block cost reduction, and parry. For my necklace, I'm going with health, block cost reduction, and bark skin for a little bit of damage reduction. You can also take Boon of Shalia here. That's really good. It helps out a ton with from Fury Fortitude here. Lets you make a lot more health, but bark skin is equally as good, especially if you already make lots of temp health. For the charm, simply running power burst, chaos, and attack speed for make it faster, and damage to the most threatening enemies, beastmen, regular chaos faction, guys with more health, And then concoction, my ult is a little bit more than a minute long with this setup, so concoction will basically give it back to me whenever I want it, any kind of potion. Plus I get the speed and strength effects, which are nice. And on the trinket, I don't run curse resistance on the guy. I play a lot of Kata. I play some legend, but even on legend, I won't run curse resistance on him. I just don't find it necessary. I do it to be funny, but like I'd rather have the cooldown reduction that makes my ult work better with concoction. And I just have crit chance, but you can run like stamina recovery, curse resistance, whatever you really want. But the cooldown reduction I think is definitely necessary. And then I've also got Grenadier on here, 25% chance not to consume a grenade on use. I don't know, I'm having a blast with Grenadier. It's cool. Shrapnel is also really useful. Even explosive ordnance, honestly, for firebombs and stuff, pretty good. And that's the build, guys. This is meant to be more of an offensive warrior priest setup with high stagger, still a little bit of team support with the healing, but a lot of horde dealing and elite killing as well. If you like this video, consider subscribing to this channel, leaving a like, leaving a comment. I also have a Discord, link is in the description down below. Feel free to join us there. We're getting close to 1,300 people in there, so if you're looking for people to play Vermintide with, we have a pretty fun little server there with moderation. Go on, check us out. Later, guys.